Kyler Murray, the Cardinals have said they will release him if they don't find a trade partner, which at this point, no one's going to trade with him most likely because he's going to be released before the start of the new year, which is a week from the time of this recording, by the end of the week. And it looks like the Minnesota Vikings are considered the favorites right now at -110. Jets, Dolphins, Browns are in the mix. Falcons loosely far behind is the Rams and some other teams. So looking at Kyler Murray on the move, my first thought is, duh, we kind of knew this as soon as they decided, we're just going to roll out Jacoby Brissett the rest of the way. So we kind of knew this, but I get it at the same time because that ship had run its course. I consider it in a much less explosive way the same situation we saw with Baker and the Browns. Like it just the ship had run its course at this point. But at the same time, I don't think Kyler's that bad. Like I don't think he's a top 10 quarterback, but I'd say he's in the top 20. And at his peak, he could be in the top 15, like when he's healthy and not running around like Mr. Krabs' legs in the red uniform. So I think there is something there. And I think if he goes to the right spot, like that Minnesota team, if he goes to the Jets, then never mind. Then he's going to be out of the league, basically. But if he goes to the Vikings, the team's awfully dangerous, and he can compete with those quarterbacks in that division. Might be the fourth best in that division, arguably, but that's a really good division. There's a lot of teams I think could use his services. I think he's going to be a hotter commodity than people think, and because he's going to be on like a veteran minimum deal because he's getting the Russell Wilson treatment of, here, we're paying your $37 million salary so you can go sign for a vet minimum somewhere, basically, and still get paid like that. So I think he's going to be a very hot commodity for a handful of these teams looking at him.
Yeah, I mean, he should make any team was out of the playoff picture last year by week 12, give them a better opportunity. So the fact the Vikings are one of the top rumored spots, like that makes sense. I have not minced words when it came to my beliefs on J.J. McCarthy as an NFL quarterback. It's not good. And it's not that like he doesn't have the capability of potentially being something good, but okay, that was a lot of words to say he's not ready now.
Or healthy, healthy.
Like he's not a guy that you can trust today. You can honestly, you roll Kyler out there and you actually give him an offensive line, you give him some receivers, because I'm sorry, there wasn't much to work with in his time with Arizona recently. So
and that defense with Minnesota.
Yeah. So and then exactly. You put him on the Vikings with that Vikings defense and what they can do. I think there's opportunity for Kyler or something like that. But every team else other than that, I mean, he's got a chance with the team. Going to the NFC or AFC East. Yeah. Pretty much pick a team. That's good luck. Sorry, NFC. Yeah, NFC East. AFC East.
NFC North? Or?
No, I'm trying to think of the Dolphins.
Oh, yeah, AFC East. Okay, so anyone besides the Bills and the Patriots, basically.
Yeah, I mean, outside of those two, sure, you're fine. You have two options there. You'll be third best quarterback in the division. I don't know why that was so hard. I kept thinking the Dolphins. I'm like, well, that's not East. It's South anyways. Don't get me started on divisions. But, I think Kyler, just keep him away from a controller for the season. Maybe write it in his contract, like you've written in many weird writers into contracts, like, hey, you can't ride a scooter in between March and December or whatever it is. They put writers on whatever contract they want to for sports, for athletes. This could be another one. You cannot play video games and stream it on Twitch from the months of August through February because we're assuming we're going to be in the Super Bowl. That's what you assume if you're a team. And you just write it in the contract. Call us well. But no surprise that the Cardinals are moving on from him. Honestly, it was time. It was writing on the wall, I
have a random team out there that I think they should really look at this. It's a little bit too late, but hear me out on this one. I feel like the Colts should really take a look at it. You put the transition tag on Daniel Jones, so he can go elsewhere, basically. Like someone else can go get him. You're letting Alec Pierce hit free agency. So if you want to keep him, you're going to have to drop off a much bigger bag. So you already fumbled there. You should have got Alec Pierce re-signed yesterday. And by yesterday, I mean every yesterday possible at this point. Like, this shouldn't even be a conversation. That should have been done, or he should have got the tag. Daniel Jones coming off a popped Achilles. So we don't even know how healthy he's going to be next year. I know everyone's like, the 7-1 start, he was so great. They were lost 3 out of the last 4 before his Achilles popped. They were 0-4 against Houston and Jacksonville, and he played in 3 of those 4 games, and the closest one of them all was the one he didn't play in.
He also had a broken shin,
and he had started to fall apart a little bit before that too. Like, Which is more, is he going to be back healthy? Because injuries have been a big part of his career too. Like, it's
Yeah.
not like this is a one-off. Like, and he's asking for reportedly a big, like $40+ million deal because they're reportedly a long ways away.
It's crazy.
For 7 really good games, you don't pay somebody that. You can't handicap yourself. Otherwise, you end up like the 2022 Giants at this point. And
Right.
I almost feel like they would have been better off taking a flyer because you have to win right now because your GM should have been fired. Your head coach's seat is on fire like it's a Charizard tail. You threw away 2 first-round picks right away. You don't have really a future. I feel like they should at least consider taking a flyer on it. For $1.8 million or whatever it is, he provides a lot of dynamic ability. And they were drafted in the same year, and he has better stats across the board in every way. And health-wise, you can't even really say anything because Daniel Jones hasn't been healthy his whole career either. So I would really consider taking a flyer on it because you put Kyler Murray, if you can keep Alec Pierce out there somewhere, Jonathan Taylor in the backfield. We know how much they love the quarterback run game. Anthony Richardson's asked for a trade. You imagine he's going to be gone. I'd say take a look. And if I'm Kyler, you look at it like maybe. Minnesota is obviously the front runner, but maybe.
Yeah.
And if you might get picks back if someone does go get Daniel Jones. Somebody else gets a little desperate and goes after him because they will have to give draft picks to go sign him. And another team can do that under this transition tag. So you kind of banking a little bit, but I'd say throwing it out there as a flyer dark horse from out of left field that shouldn't happen, but then it does.
Well, you want to throw a dark horse out here. Here's a dark horse out here for you. The Raiders. Trade the number 1 overall. Take Kyler.
Kyler would be so pissed. Are you kidding me? I go from Arizona to this.
It depends who they trade with, right? If it obviously they're going to bring home a bag, so who are they trading with for that number 1 overall pick? And they could get receivers, linemen, you name what they're bringing in, and now you take a player who you actually do kind of want him in a dome for a majority of the season. Like, yeah, you have to go to Kansas City and Denver. That sucks, but you're in LA and Vegas. Like, you can survive that. It's somewhere where I think also Kyler would like to go. It's not that far from Phoenix in the grand scheme of the world. So I don't know. It's a weird one. It's a dark horse. It's just something floating out there, but it's just like maybe. Why not? Let's see what random craziness somebody like the Raiders could do. Because we all know the Raiders are going to do some Raider stuff. At some point in time, the Raiders are going to Raider. And I'm just waiting for it. And this seems like the moment where the Raiders are about to Raider. And Clint Kubiak, you just don't really know what he's going to do just yet.
My question to you on that is, if they do that, do they also trade Max Crosby like it looks like and go all in on that? Or do they try and keep Max Crosby now that you bring in Kyler Murray? You're not in a full rebuild. You're in like a 3/4 rebuild. Because if you also trade Max, you're just going to take over like a third of the first round at this point with all of these trades.
And I think that depends, right? Well, who do you trade the number 1 overall pick for? What do you get back? And then I think that answers the question about Max. Does he go as well? I think if they're going to do something like that and Max Crosby's aware of it and they're like, hey, we're bringing in Kyler. He's like, okay, I hated trying to sack Kyler. All right, I can live with this. I know how hard it was for me. I know how hard it's going to be for other defenses. And if they have a plan and they can execute that plan, I think you keep them. But I think it's also, is this new front office in Vegas open to the conversation of having that with Max Crosby and keeping him around, given what just happened at the end of last season, where he was obviously not injured and they put him on an injury list, claimed he was injured and that's why he's sitting out games. So yeah, there's a lot of questions there. Obviously when you start talking about all that, but I think if they're willing to be open with him, if Kubiak comes in and says, look, this is what we're doing, then okay. I think that would be a very interesting aspect. I would like to see Kyler in there with Justin Herbert, with Patrick Mahomes and Bo Nix. I think that would be a very fun conference of quarterbacks.
There's a lot of very interesting moves with him as well, too. What's weird is because we kind of started off to like he's a good quarterback, but we're not talking like Lamar Jackson hitting the market here, too. But because quarterbacks is such a premium and he's shown the ability to, at the very least, be pretty good in stretches. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens and if it turns into a bidding war for him, if it turns chaotic, or if he just says, no, I'm going to this team so I can thrive here and I'm getting paid regardless. So he has all the cards in his favor. So be curious to see what happens. So let us know down below where you all think Kyler Murray should go next or who should be going after him.